Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be sharing a deeply personal story about how I surrendered myself to help my son get the diagnosis that changed our life. It was a long journey filled with uncertainty, fear, and so many questions. I had to put aside my doubt, my fears, and even my own expectation to truly listen to my instinct as a mother and to do what was best for him. From the first sign, I knew something was different. But it took a lot of courage to fully accept that my son needed more than I could understand at that time. I'll walk you through the moment of realization, the challenges we faced, and how finally getting the diagnosis helped us move forward. It all began in 2020, in a year that changed so much for everyone. In the midst of the global pandemic, I was not only fighting an invisible virus, but also coming to terms with something much closer to home. At that time, I was still handling COVID-19 cases and planning my final year of service in the army. The chaos of those days felt surreal, but one moment stand out more than anything else. The realization that my son Zayan wasn't just delayed from his premature birth. It was during quarantine when I was isolated with Zayan due to suspected COVID case that I had the time to truly see him. It was as if being forced to stop everything allowed me to focus on the one thing I've been brushing aside, his developmental delay, which I had once attributed to his prematurity. I knew in my heart that something was different about Zayan, but I hadn't allowed myself to fully acknowledge it before. In those quiet days together, I watched as he lined up his toy over and over, avoiding eye contact and struggled with tasks like holding a spoon or brushing his teeth. I remember trying to brush his teeth, and the meltdown that followed broke my heart. His tantrum weren't just frustration, they were cries for understanding. He wasn't speaking, he wasn't even trying to communicate in the way typical children his age would. He only drank formula milk from a bottle and refused solid food. It was like he was locked in his own world and I was on the outside watching. One day, we had a follow up appointment at Hospital Ampang for Zayan routine pediatric checkup. I was anxious more than usual. The clinic was busy as always, but this time was different. This time I had a sinking feeling in my stomach that today we might get the diagnosis I had been fearing and also seeking. We were lucky to see a senior medical officer that day. I started the conversation bluntly, the words coming out faster than I expected. I think my son is autistic, and then I listed every concern that I observed in him. He lined up his toy every day without any real play. Sensory issues so intense it was nearly impossible to brush his teeth, causing severe tooth decay. Poor fine motor skill, he is unable to hold a spoon or even touch food. He never joining other children, always in his own world. He showed frequent tantrums, so often tied to his inability to communicate his needs. He is not speaking, not a word, and only make a sound. He is only drinking formula milk from a bottle. Extremely picky eating habits. He rejects almost all solid food and refuses to swallow it and just keep it in his mouth. I'm so worried, and he is almost 5. I could see the recognition in her eyes as I spoke. We had barely been in the room for 10 minutes when she filled out the form for disability card, an official recognition of Zayan disability from Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. That same week, I received his disability card. It happened so quickly, but instead of shock or grief, I felt something completely unexpected. I felt relief. Now I could finally start helping him in the way he needed. The diagnosis wasn't a burden, it was a key unlocking a new path for us. My eyes in tears now as I reflect on how much I've learned from my son. He has taught me more than any medical textbook or experience in the field. He has shown me resilience, patience, and the beauty of neurodiversity. As a doctor, I know I had so much more to learn about autism. But as a mother, I pray every day that he will thrive in this world, not by changing who he is, but by embracing the incredible boy he already is. My hope is that this story will inspire other parents to trust their journey and know that you are not alone. If this resonates with you, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more personal story and insight on this path of parenting. Thank you and bye.